Abahlinzeki bosizo lezezimali nabo bolekisa.
Afuna ukunqoba kuphela esigodi.
Oh, but there was this one friend.
We are the amplifiers.
Lalela. Listen to the voices of education in South Africa. Episode 1.
They call me a coconut.
Hello and welcome. My name is Eva Moeraert, and over the next 6 episodes I'll take you to South Africa. Not along the main roads, but through classrooms, playgrounds and projects where things happen every single day. In each episode we follow one person, from early in the morning until the day slowly comes to a stop. The podcast is called Lalela, and that means listen or listen closely in Xhosa and Zulu, 2 of the 11 languages spoken here in South Africa. And today, we meet Sonny. Enjoy and Lalela. Sonny, where are we?
Okay, so now we are in Nelson Mandela Square. This is literally where everyone from around the world come to when they come to Joburg. This is where everyone also just wants to take a picture with our legend Nelson Mandela.
He's standing there. It's
Yes.
a big statue. It's like 4 times my height, I guess, no?
I always wonder, how do people get him in the picture, like fully in the picture? Because they stand so close to him. Do they just take pictures with his legs? And then I've been here so many times in my life since I was a child, but I don't have a picture with Nelson Mandela.
We should take one.
I was about to say, maybe we should take one today.
Sonny and I are not meeting today just to take a selfie, of course. No, when I called this 22-year-old student teacher and asked where she wanted to meet for the interview, she proposed the Sandton Library in Johannesburg. And that library is right across from this enormous statue of Nelson Mandela. At the time, I didn't yet understand why she wanted to bring me exactly here. She would only explain that to me later today.
The library is actually very, very beautiful. It's this large space and lots of lighting as well. Lots of lighting. And I do think apparently people study better in natural lighting. So very, very beautiful.
Sonny and I had already done a few video calls before meeting up, and she welcomes me here at the Sandton Library as if we've been friends for years. And I love that, especially because she's the very first person I'm talking to on this trip.
I can not study with friends. I lose focus very easily. So if I have my friends around, I want to take out my phone and show them just a TikTok and be like, look at this TikTok. And I can't study with my friends.
This is my first time in South Africa and in Johannesburg, or Joburg as people call it here. A typical tourist probably skips this city. He goes on a safari in Kruger National Park, about 400 kilometers from here, and then visits the area around Cape Town in the south. Places that feel more European, more Western than this big, at first sight rather grey, busy, noisy city. But my mission is to really get to know South Africa, through the eyes of teachers, pupils, schools and education. Bottom up, you could say.
So today I have to create a lesson plan for my assignment.
It's quiet in this fancy library. Every now and then, someone is reading or working here. So we go into a corner to talk, trying not to disturb anyone. Why did you want to be a teacher?
That's actually a question in my assignment that I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So I want to be a teacher because, number one, I love helping people, I love sharing knowledge. So when I'm teaching, or not even when I'm teaching, but when I tell someone something that they didn't know, the smile on their face, or like just the fact that they're so interested in what I just said, makes me so happy, because it's like, I just gave you something to know, something to teach, something to learn, something, like I made that little light bulb in your head go ding, and you've received something that you didn't know.
This is Sonny at the school where she is doing her internship. She's currently in her second year and chose to teach the second and third grade of primary school, what they call the intermediate phase here. She studies via distance learning, and that wasn't a random choice.
In 2023, right, I started with my studies, Bachelor of Education, right? But the university that I went to, it was a little too expensive for my family. But so the next year I wouldn't be able to study. So in that year, luckily, my friend told me that there's learnerships in schools that I can actually teach and study at the same time. I was like, oh, okay, that's good, because then I can, get all the experience that I need. And
you earn money in the learnership?
Yes. It's a stipend. So a stipend is it's less than a salary, but it's just to help you with your studies, your basic needs, transport to get to work and back home. And so with UNISA, it's an online, they call it distance learning. So it's online learning. And so that makes it easier for me to study and work.
So we have a grasshopper, it's actually a locust, but it says grasshopper. And then we have a spider, which is one of my biggest fears. You see, we already shouted. No stories. Okay, picture one, which is our butterfly. Let's talk about the shape of our butterfly, or what shapes our butterfly has. Can you hear me? Okay, circle.
So with the learnerships, we go around, so we have a 2-week rotation. So for 2 weeks, we're with this teacher. For the next 2 weeks, we're with that teacher.
You're always with a teacher?
Always
Never
with a
alone?
teacher. Sometimes the teacher does leave us alone because we have a SACE, which is our teaching license. So we have the permission to be in classes with students, alone with them. But most of the time, it's with the teacher. I actually get very excited when the teacher leaves. Because it's just nice to have your own environment to be, you can fully be yourself.
It sounds like a perfect system for her. And then she tells me there's another very big reason why she wanted to become a teacher.
I live in a township, and
just for context, a township is a residential area on the edge of South African cities, created during apartheid for non-white residents.
In that township, not a lot of people are as well-spoken as I am. But I'm this well-spoken because I went to schools where I was taught to speak English the way I speak English. But whereas in a township school, they aren't necessarily taught English.
In the next episode, we'll dive deeper into which languages are spoken at home and at school, and why speaking good, fluent English is so important here.
So luckily, I was fortunate enough to go to a school outside the township, so in a more suburban area, which has more predominantly white people. So that's how I speak the way I speak. But I don't want a lot of people in the township to be taught by white people in order for them to speak English the way I speak English, in order for them to be well-spoken. It would be so lovely to be taught by a person that looks like you. That would be amazing.
Is that your dream, like teaching in a township, in a school like that, or?
Yes, but seeing how township schools are, I don't think I'd want to teach in a township school because of how they are now. But if it was much better, like if I could handle 60 kids in a class, then I would definitely teach. But I can barely handle 39-year-olds in a class. So once I've worked on that, then I do think I can go teach in a township school. Yeah.
Okay, please pick up any papers around you.
So we can, all the learners doing Siyamba, please go to the hall. Thank you.
There's papers over there, pick them up.
And because I also want to better understand the impact of apartheid and South Africa's colonial history on the country today, I'll be talking to another woman as well. Ayanda Sithole works for the organization VVOB, an international non-profit that focuses on making education systems stronger, among others in Africa. She introduces herself as an education activist.
Yeah, I think I always dreamt of the other side of the world. And I think education is one space which connects people, opens up your world, shapes your thinking. And I mean, growing up in South Africa, you know, just access to education is not a given thing. It's more of a privilege. And so for me to make sure that everybody has access to education has been like my driving force. So that's why I call myself an education activist.
I tell her how hard it is for me to hear and to see with my own eyes this week how big the differences still are between education and also daily life in townships and in more urban areas. Even though apartheid officially ended 30 years ago and everyone is equal under the law.
Yeah, it's the reality.
Ayanda, herself a black woman just like Sonny, explains to me that this is still her daily reality.
It's the reality. I mean, I too was born in the township. I was born in Soweto. And my parents were what you would call sort of middle income parents. So you would commute from your township to the suburban school. So you essentially live in these two different worlds.
Sonny doesn't come from Soweto like Ayanda, but from Alexandra, or Alex as she calls it. And this is what it sounds like. It's a completely different world here in Alex. And it's incredibly close to the fancy neighborhood of Sandton and the library. It was like a 5-minute Uber drive here. And you go from very, very rich to very poor. And I'm a bit shocked by the difference, so close to each other. There's a lot of people here in the streets walking around me and trying to sell me things. A lot of traffic as well, cars, motorcycles.
Alex is a great example of infrastructure that was not planned for people to live in. People are on top of each other. I mean, houses are literally on the road. Yeah, and I think the beauty, what makes Alex very interesting is like it is really the melting pot of everything. So you've got people coming from different provinces in Alex, people coming from different African countries in Alex. So it's like a varied life experience.
I asked both Ayanda and Sonny why there's still such a big gap between schools in the townships and those in richer neighborhoods.
In township areas, there's more learners in the class. 60. Wow. 60 learners in a class. Whereas in a suburban public school, there's just about 30. And also resources. They would provide more resources to the suburban school as compared to the township school, because they would see people in the townships to ruin things, to be vandalizers of property and stuff. So they'd rather take it to a place where it's more taken care of.
And who is they? The government?
The government, yes.
So in South Africa, there are paying schools and non-paying public schools. So you'll find that in some schools, you've got 60% of the learners who are non-paying, who've got exemption. And then you'll find that in most suburban schools, all the learners pay school fees. So over and above what government allocates to the schools also use the school fees to resource themselves. And so you can imagine if you have a school which has less income, then they have less muscle. And all government institutions really are struggling, have been struggling for years financially. I think that's why we rely a lot on donor aid in terms of, our programs. So it is a system that is stressed financially, and the learner numbers are growing every year.
Okay, the last slide. Here's some fun facts for you guys. The pyramids of Egypt are all built to the west of the Nile River, which was associated with the land of the dead.
But I always say that it's interesting to see at the learner level, especially when you look at the grade 12, when they write their matric exams, you do not see the difference that much. I don't know what the secret is, because you get a lot of these township schools who do really, really well at these exams in comparison to the suburban schools. So I think maybe the issue is not always just about the teacher. I think the issues are really about resources and infrastructure and classroom sizes.
What strikes me is that Sonny lives here in Alex, but is doing her internship in a much wealthier area, in a school with mostly white children.
Teaching where I teach right now it's wonderful. I won't lie. It's very nice because also I'm teaching kids that are well-mannered and they're not as disrespectful as a child in a township would be. So yeah, it's just really, it's amazing to see the cultural differences. And I can always feel it when I go back home, because I go back home and I live in a township. So I go back home to that township and it's like kind of depressing because I come from such a high posh area, Sometimes when I go back home, it's just so tiring, so draining, because it's like people in this area just don't want to do anything. Whereas where I work, everyone wants to do something. There's always something to do, yeah. Right now, it's a Monday, but my neighbors are home. They don't want to work. They just chilling outside, drinking alcohol, drinking their beers. What are they doing? So it's definitely how I see them, but it's also how they see me. They just see me as this person that's bougie, that likes nice things, and I'm trying to act like a white person. That I've been called a coconut so many times because...
What's a coconut?
A coconut is, how coconut is white on the inside and brown on the outside? That's how they say I am. They say I'm white, but I'm just covered in black skin. So that's basically a coconut. So because they see me as that person, someone who thinks that they're better than everyone else, I don't think I'm better than everyone else. But I do know that I could be better than everyone else. And that's just, in their eyes, it's wrong. It's, why are you acting like that? Like you're supposed to act like us.
It is not an easy situation for Sonny. And of course, not everyone in the townships is drunk at their front door. I noticed that myself while walking around here. But Ayanda does explain that alcohol abuse is a major social issue here.
The unfortunate thing about our country is that we never focused on the social-psychological component of what happened in the past. What happened in the past disrupted the family dynamic. And so it's kind of normal to expect that all your uncles will be drinking. Even in the township, there's not a lot of extramural things that you could do. So you're limited in terms of how to entertain yourself. So you find a lot of young people drinking. You find a lot of adults drinking. And right now you have a lot of young graduates who don't have jobs, who are depressed. And it's better to have a glass of beer and forget about your problems than sit there and not have solutions. And so growing up in the township, I think, requires a lot of resilience and somebody who has very big dreams. And unfortunately, we all think the dream is to get out, is to get out and live a better life and not be faced with the poverty, the depression, the crime.
Like Sonny, who also doesn't want to stay here forever.
I don't see myself growing in Alex. No. Yeah. Actually, I want to when I move out, there's this place here in Sandton called Ilovo. There's really beautiful houses there, and that's where I want to live, between Ilovo and Bryanston. Those are my places where I'd love to live, yeah.
And that's why she invited me to this fancy shopping center in Sandton with a touristy statue of Nelson Mandela and a huge fountain right next to us.
Like, you know how people call me a coconut and how I feel like I'm better than everyone, and this is where I get that energy from. This is where I feel more myself than anywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the classroom, that's teacher me. But here, this is actually me. This is the person I actually want to be when I grow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Nelson Mandela.
Let's go get pictures with Nelson Mandela.
But tell me, how important is Nelson Mandela still for you?
I would say, because I don't know how much I can trust history at this point, because there's just a lot that we're not being told. But I would say that he's still very important. Like, he fought for our freedom in South Africa. To me, that's very important, because now, if he didn't fight for our freedom in South Africa, you and I wouldn't be talking like this. No. We wouldn't be able to interact with each other at all. If we did, then one of us was going to get into trouble, and that was going to be me, you know? So I do feel like that's why he's just very important to me, still till today, because he was just a freedom fighter, and I love the freedom that we have now. Yeah.
But why do you say you don't trust history? I don't understand.
Because there's a lot of untaught history in classes. A lot of things that was said about Nelson Mandela, that he didn't actually fight for freedom. It was really Winnie Mandela, his wife. Actually, Winnie Mandela is the actual real hero here in this situation. But, you know, a lot of people don't take that into consideration. It was also a lot of females, because in parliament there's usually males, you know, so a lot of females are just like, we're always praising this male, whereas his wife, who is the female in the situation, was the one who actually did all the fighting for us, which is what happens in most, you know, most of people's careers are torn down because it's their idea, but the man got the credit, you know, so yeah.
We queue for a photo with Mandela. And I reflect on what a first day this has been. Because through Sonny, I now clearly see how deep the inequalities still run in South Africa, and how hard it is to break out of your own circle. And how, when you try to do that, you're not always understood by your own community. So Michael is taking a picture of us.
Yeah.
You're first with Nelson Mandela.
Yes, finally.
Between his legs. Are you on it? I will send you the picture.
Please, thank you so much.
There it is, the photo is taken. And I'll be sticking around here for a few more days before flying to Cape Town, because I want to visit the community radio station Alex FM, where young people from this township are given the chance to make radio and podcasts.
Top of the morning, and you're listening to The Amplifiers on LXFM 89.1, Elevate Your Mind. I am your host, Tisetso Mabasa, aka your golden boy with a golden voice.